Every individual cell carries out homeostasis. So, anything the cell might need energy for, here's the way it works. This bond between the second and the third phosphate is not stable, okay? It's a loose bond. When the cell needs energy, this bond can get broken. And it becomes what we know as inorganic phosphate. And if we're in a cell, all right, and there's a reaction occurring that needs energy, this phosphate can simply go to that part of the cell and supply energy. Once it's done, because once we supply energy, it now becomes adenosine diphosphate, meaning only 2 phosphates, and that is low energy. And therefore, once the phosphate is done, it simply will form the bond again, and I'm back to ATP. ATP is the energy of the cell. For example, do you guys know anybody who might do like mountain biking? All that type of stuff, I mean, no way. Wouldn't be able to do it, okay? But that's a pretty intense sport, okay? If you have ever seen anything, any videos or GoPros or anything like that of people who are mountain biking, they're moving really fast. They are navigating very treacherous terrain, okay? Something that I personally would not be able to do. But they are heavily using, for example, their calf muscles, the gastrocnemius, all right? Heavily using that. For their muscle cells to meet that demand, they're requiring about 10,000 ATPs per minute. Does that give you an idea of how important ATP is as an energy source? That's huge. People who run, people who play the sports that have a lot of running, basketball, football, rugby, running itself, like doing marathons, that sort of thing. Your muscle cells, for example, they are expending great amounts of this energy. We have to replenish it. One of the ways we replenish it is we eat. So, something else that happens when this ATP is being used, and if we're thinking about that energy source getting used in stuff such as extreme sports, what happens to that person's body temperature? The body temperature increases because a lot of these chemical demands are taking place. So a lot of what happens with our chemical reactions, it's being done, first of all, to help us maintain body temperature, and at times when body temperature goes up, body temperature goes down, the body works to change the reactions so that we can meet the demands. So that is working on a cellular level, at the level of the cells, which we'll, definitely talk more about in the next chapter. These reactions that occur in the body, they have a certain speed at which they should occur. For example, if you ate breakfast, and as the body now is working to break it down, there's a certain speed the body will work to break down those molecules. And that speed can be affected in different ways. One of the ways that the speed of a chemical reaction can be affected, temperature. Now, temperature. Just in chemistry alone, which is dealing with all these molecules, the chemical bonds, that sort of thing, it's very important for the chemicals to remain intact, break down if they need to, build up if they need to, but temperature can affect this. If you have chemicals in something, all right, i.e. our bodies, these molecules, okay, you increase the body temperature, you increase how quickly those molecules move. In that case, all right, if temperature of the body increases and molecules move faster, they begin to collide into each other and break down. If that's the norm, great. But if it's not, it can be detrimental, even to the point of death. For example, body temperature. At your average temperature, all of the movement of these molecules in your body is normal. Your temperature goes up, movement increases, collisions increase. That could be good or bad. What happens to your body when your temperature begins to go to like 103, 104? Oh, definitely. Well, 103, 104, you need to be getting to the doctor, okay, the hospital, all right, especially if you can't bring it down. So like if you're taking the Tylenol, Motrin, whatever the case might be, and you can't get that temperature down and it's just continuing to go up, you need to get to the doctor, okay? 105, huge concern. They need to start packing you in ice, cold, you know, that sort of thing. You get up to 108, chances are death is going to ensue. Why?
You're internally too hot. You're heating up your organs.
You're cooking your organs and you're breaking down proteins of the body that cannot be replaced quick enough. All right, and one of the organs you're cooking the fastest is your brain, the nerve tissue. So temperature is important in the body. If we look at the concentration of the reactants, depending on, okay, how much of a chemical has been put into the body, the usually proteins that need to break it down, all right, so that the body can utilize those component parts. Usually we keep that at a pretty steady concentration. If you begin to increase that concentration of the material, reaction rates increase. Under certain conditions, that can be okay. Under other conditions, it could lead to death, all right? Because you may not be able If there's a certain, like carbon monoxide, for example, the body can't handle that. If you don't get yourself out of that situation into fresh air and so forth, you're gonna die. Oxygen. In our understanding right now of oxygen, because that's one that we're very familiar with. We see that O2 sign and we think of oxygen, okay? You may know somebody who has an oxygen tank. You may know somebody who has an oxygen, the little machine that makes it, okay? But do you know why oxygen is so important in the body? A lot of people go, well, I gotta breathe. Yeah, okay. But, there's a couple reasons oxygen is so important. Oxygen is carried on hemoglobin of our red blood cells. And it's going to get dropped off at the tissue level for the cells to use it. And do you know, now remember, at this point, I'm at the cellular level. And we're made up of trillions of them, okay? I'm at the cellular level. Do you know at what point oxygen is used in the cell?
Cellular respiration.
Cellular respiration, which gives me what? My ATP. Any connection being made right there? Everything that happens in our bodies, everything that happens in our bodies is going to happen at the cellular level. We are going to, if you can understand this concept, if you can understand what is going to occur at the cellular level, you understand anatomy and physiology. Give me questions now. Don't wait till you go into your programs of study. You need to be able to understand everything we're talking about right now at this cellular level. I just showed you a connection. I just showed you the connection between oxygen and ATP, the energy of the cell. Does that not bring any questions to mind? John mentioned cellular respiration. Have I mentioned that? How did he know that was the process? That is the process in the mitochondrion that makes the ATP. I want you guys to try to start putting these little pieces together, okay?